has been telling me to watch for like almost 1 or 2 years straight. And I still didn't watch it. Welcome back to Mode Theory, my media analysis platform. As usual, I'm just going to get straight into it. Today's video is not as heavy or analytical as all of my other videos. I take great pleasure in filming this video. Today's topic of discussion is Larry David and Curb Your Enthusiasm. This is a very, very hilarious and entertaining show, consistently. And I was shocked. There's a slight backstory as to how I ended up watching Curb Your Enthusiasm as a fellow Gen Zer. This is very embarrassing for me to say, but before someone told me to watch the show, I didn't know.
You wouldn't.
I know, I'm embarrassed. What am I going to do? Lie? But I didn't know who he was. I knew about Seinfeld. I just had never watched it. And so here's the backstory. At my previous job, I was just that employee, cool with everyone on my team, whatever. It was quite a close knit team. And so one day, I must have made a joke, and one of my colleagues goes, and shout out to you, because if you ever end up watching this, you know exactly who you are. But he just goes, you're really funny. Sometimes your humor reminds me of Larry David. At this time, I think I was like 24. I don't know, 24, 25. I didn't know who he was. Again, now that I do know who he is, that is so embarrassing for me to admit, but I didn't. And so I kind of just brushed it off. I thought, you just laugh along, haha, and just move on with the day. And then he kept recommending this show called Curb Your Enthusiasm. Liz, have you ever watched Curb Your Enthusiasm? Have you watched it? Yeah. Have you watched it? Yeah. And I never got round to it. Here's how I watched it. I left that job. Then it was announced that the final season of Euphoria was going to air, right? I made up my mind that I was going to get HBO Max for this. And so obviously, in downloading and making an account, just for Euphoria, basically. Oh, and The White Lotus. Flicking through the shows, and I'm like, this is that show it's been telling me to watch for like almost 1 or 2 years straight. And I still didn't watch it. I still didn't watch it. It was until I finished Euphoria and The White Lotus, and I just thought, let me just give it a go before I delete this app. And so I'm looking at the cover. Didn't scream to me. I can just see an old balding guy on the cover. Curb Your Enthusiasm in yellow. I said, hey, I gave it a watch. I have never looked back. The show is amazingly funny because Larry David is a phenomenal writer. Not only that, but he understands human behavior very well. And he knows how to portray the everyday awkwardnesses that us as humans go through in life because of the social constructs that
So
we have
unfortunately,
made.
I had to actually get up and answer the door. When I sat back down, guys, my camera did not focus and my lighting wasn't quite the same. I only realized as I was editing, and in the most respectful way, I need to get this out ASAP. I don't have time to refilm. Sorry about this, everyone.
And you may be thinking, Uzazi or Liz, bro, you don't remind me of Larry David. I can see why if, you've joined this channel, you're probably thinking, yeah, but you know how to hold a conversation, you can be quite funny, charismatic. I am those things. This is not fake. But there's another side. I, especially when I'm comfortable with people, can be very cross. I will die on the hill about the principle of something. I can be quite stubborn. My sarcasm levels are 100 out of 10. Very dark sense of humor. I see why my colleague recommended this show because I'm looking sometimes at myself. It's like looking in a mirror. He will do things that I just feel like so seen. For example, when he's talking about him not liking unnecessary small talk in the street, I 100% agree. If we truly both have nothing to talk about, we know we don't have a close enough relationship that every time we see each other, we have important things to say. Like, we both know that. Can't we both just get on with our days? Do we have to fake the little it's small talk. My issue is small talk. I can't stand small talk. I think it's unnecessary and I think it's awkward. And I think a lot of people also think it is unnecessary and awkward, but they feel a social obligation to partake in it. And most times I just really won't. I'm so sorry. It's different if you're a close friend of mine and an organic urge for me to talk to you. I think what Larry and I are saying is that when it's not organic, it's just a bit stupid. Yeah, sometimes I'll be watching it just thinking, thank, I just feel so seen. And I think an interesting angle that I have is that even though Larry in this series is painted as this really horribly rude person, he does have social skills. He just uses them when he wants to. And here's another thing, sometimes the need to say something when no one wants to say it, sometimes you just have to be that person. And I don't mind it being me sometimes. The comedy of the show derives from the conflict between honesty and politeness. Larry is often saying what everyone else is thinking, but just won't say. And so he looks like the bad guy. But I can't lie, I'll be watching Larry most times and being like, yeah, like I kind of hear it. Lastly, I would like to touch on why I think the show is still so successful. Obviously, we have the relatable portrayal of, awkward human behaviors and disasters and situations. There isn't a huge storyline needed. I have shows that I call what I like to call old reliables. And an old reliable in my book is just a show that I know every time I put it on, I'm just going to be entertained in some way. I don't have to be deeply invested. There aren't very complex characters or storylines, but I know when I put that show on, I'm going to have the time of my life. It's, dare I say, a bit of an addictive show. I genuinely want to get to the very last episode. So, a ton of timeless humor in there. Some things wouldn't fly in this generation, but yeah, a lot of timeless humor. It's just a nice go to show for me. I'm really so glad that my old co worker kept telling me to watch Curb Your Enthusiasm. Pretty, pretty. Yeah, I put my hands up. I was so wrong about Curb Your Enthusiasm. I ignored this show for literal years because I thought it wasn't for me. But let this be a lesson to you. A, or one, don't judge a book by its cover. And two, don't let the age of something put you off of enjoying a film or a show. I really do love this show that is about the invisible social rules that for some reason we all choose to follow every day. Thanks for watching. Make sure you tune into my blog, like, subscribe, and I shall see you next time.